around for a while. Welcome to DEI 2025. Let's do a call to order. I'm here, Scott Matsuda, Commissioner Francisco.
Here.
Commissioner Page. Commissioner Onat.
Here.
Commissioner Apio.
Here.
Commissioner Courtney.
Here.
And Commissioner Pottinger.
Here.
Okay.
Yay. Councilmember Murray.
Councilmember Murray. Yay.
I know you're stuck with me for another year.
Yay. So happy for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I do have a suggested edit to the agenda. Well, we have our special guest first. And then I was wondering if we could move events after Councilmember Murray's updates, so that Andrew can go home at a reasonable hour.
That's fine for me. Do we have to vote?
Do we have to vote on that? Can I get a,
Sure.
I move that we,
Let's just please say it.
that we put events after Councilmember Murray's.
I second.
good, it's been moved and seconded to move the, what, events?
Yeah, and then
The events, section number 8, yes.
Part 9 to be,
Part 8 to be, up to part.
Up to 5,
part 9?
From 9 to 6.
9 to 6,
9 to 6.
6, got it.
Oh, is it not?
Yeah,
This is, I got the old one.
Yes.
all right, we have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay,
was-
all right, you were first and Teresa was second, okay. And
Oh,
And then the question.
Yeah.
call the question, please. Mr. Matsuda. Chairman,
I'm sorry,
can you call the question, please?
call the question.
All in favor?
All those in favor, thank you so much. Those opposed? The motion carries.
Kiddo, great. Thank you. And so would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes, our guest speaker, Tuha Nguyen, founder of Departure, Survival, and Success. She's here to discuss an event that she's trying to put together that will
Yes.
celebrate the 50th anniversary of the South Vietnamese coming here to the US as a result of the war happening in their part of the world. And do you want to take us the rest of the way?
Sure, I was told, by William that I was either gonna be new business or brought into public comment or something, I don't know what my category is, but if I'm the only one that's, a guest here tonight, I will go first and.
Yep.
I just didn't wanna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
Is it
Alex,
okay to stand here, or should I go over there, or how does that work?
Whatever.
you're
Yeah,
fine
right
there.
there is fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
when I stand up, most people can't see me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so thank you so much, and I recognize some of you, I've seen some of you around town, but then, others I have not, but, we share a beautiful memory, and you asked me about where to buy the best salads around town 3 years ago. And so I remember Aaron for that, but anyways, yes, I know you have so much to do, and so, how many minutes would you like to allot me, I just out of respect for everyone's
I
time?
put 15 on the agenda.
Oh, I'll try to do better than that, okay, so that you folks can go home sooner, because I know you really were dying to get. I don't know you yet, but I want you to get home, I heard the urgency in your voice. Okay, so my name is Tu Holland, and I, live about that way, and I drive there within 5 minutes, so the husband, left me here 25 minutes ago, and if he still wants to be with me, he'll come back and get me later. Okay, so, anyways, I do wanna start out just to get an idea of how much about maybe Vietnamese culture you might know by asking 3 basic questions, okay? So that last name right there, Nguyen, is pronounced win, like win or lose, because it has 3 symbols on it that don't exist in the American, linguistics, okay? What is the percentage of people that have that last name that have Vietnamese DNA? Do you wanna take a guess?
I'm gonna say 30%.
Okay, anybody else?
70.
70? Is that, are you saying a joke or you really need something?
No, I think,
Okay.
there's so many people with
Uh-huh.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
anybody else want to guess? 30,
Yeah.
70, any
Yeah,
other
I'd go with
numbers?
70.
I think it's like Korean Kim almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
And is it pronounced the same way?
same way as,
When?
yeah, it's all pronounced the same way.
Okay.
So, over 78% of our people have that last name.
Nailed it.
And the reason why that came about, and I don't know if you want to wow your friends at the next cocktail party, but, there was a King Wen many hundreds of years ago. And when he became the king, didn't matter if your last name was Tran, Wu, Li, Fan, Trin, didn't matter. You had two first names, two middle names, and that last name, and it would tell the people where you were in history. Were you part of the time that the father king became the king, or were you the inauguration of one of his 3 to 6 sons? So that will tell you. So that's one thing, right? And so I don't know if you've heard it before, but you made a good comment, sir. I want to call you Lee Early, but I know that's not your name. So
That's okay.
Mr. Onak.
Come and sleeping.
Okay, Mr. Onak, right?
Yes.
So Mr. Onak, so let me ask, you mentioned Korean, Park, Kim, those
yeah.
things, yep. We're the equivalent of that, so, yeah, that's that. Yeah, so, that's one thing. Now, I'm gonna talk food. And these are very quick and not meant to trip you up. I'm not gonna quiz you at the end, and there's no money involved in this, okay, so they're gonna be real clean. When you eat a bowl of pho in the country of Vietnam, how do you pretend you just got dropped out of the sky and you don't know where you are, north, south, central, in the sea, you know, in an amusement park, whatever. How do you know the difference between a bowl of soup that's made by a southern chef versus a northern chef? Does anyone know the difference?
Does the northern have cream, like coconut cream in it?
Very good, but we're gonna go take that answer to Thailand. Okay, next. Who else has an answer? And I'm not making fun of you either. I just thought that was the sweetest. Because my friend is in Thailand, her husband's Thai.
Okay,
from Thailand.
okay.
Cilantro, okay, you're getting closer. Anybody else? You just want the answer, what? Okay, heat,
How much heat is?
okay, so you have temperature, you have herbs.
Since I'm getting closer, then I'm gonna say soy, like,
Sprouts.
yeah, sprouts.
Yeah, you're all getting closer to it, so in the old country. And also evidenced by what you have here in the United States, because we from the South are the ones that came to the States, right? Because we're the ones that lost the war. If you're in northern Vietnam, you know that when you, no, step back. You're in Western Washington, when you go to eat pho, the bowl comes out, right? And then next to the bowl is that plate of what?
Basil.
Yeah, all the vegetables, right? The jalapenos, the lemon, the basil, right? In the old country, if you're somewhere, anywhere in the north, they throw that whole bowl of anything that they envision to be a vegetable into the bowl. They don't care if you like it or not. That's the difference, that's how you know. And you know that we lost the war because all of our vegetables come on the side, right? So that's the distinction between the southern and the northern cooking, right? So first we talk about the names, certain names, common names, then we talk about food. Now, this is not gonna trip you up, and I know somebody in here is amazing at this because you like astronomy and you like zodiac, right? And you're very good with numbers, I can already see it in you're very brilliant people, so. When you think of the Chinese zodiac versus the Vietnamese zodiac, what is the difference between the Vietnamese and the Chinese zodiac? There are 2 distinguishable differences, you've heard this before, every time the Lunar New Year comes around, and every time people say happy, Asian New Year or whatever, they'll tell you this story. There are 12 animals in each zodiac. 12 in the Vietnamese, 12 in the Chinese, right? But there are 2 ways they differ from each other, the Chinese versus the Vietnamese. Should I just tell you?
It's between, what each animal means?
You're getting closer, but, okay, so the answer is, you're gonna sleep, right, Jimmy? I'm so sorry, I shouldn't say that.
That's fine.
You and I are like this, and we've known each other 33 seconds, and so, sorry. So the Vietnamese have a water buffalo where the Chinese have an ox. The Vietnamese have and I always mess this one up, I'm so sorry, my mother is yelling at me from heaven now. But the the Vietnamese have there we go, a cat, and the Chinese have a rabbit. Okay, here's the last Jeopardy question, although you don't have to answer it by way of, asking a question. Who has a smartphone in this room? Anybody? Oh, you all have it, okay. Pretend you pick it up, or pick it up and see if you can text yourself or somebody else and just write the word Vietnam and tell me what flag comes up with that. With that, when you enter the word Vietnam, Vietnam, or however you want to spell Vietnam so that it comes out with a flag. When you get a flag, when you get it, don't, I know you're gonna.
Mine is not showing any flags.
You're not showing any flags. Does anyone have a flag?
Oh,
Okay, who has the top? Mr. Andrew?
I have a red with a star.
Okay, it's background red with a star, right? Okay, so that is the Northern Vietnamese flag, and that flag represents the communist regiments that took over Vietnam the last day of April 1975. This flag is the flag of my birth. This flag is when Saigon was the major business hub capital of all of Vietnam. It doesn't mean that that's a bad flag or anything like that, it's just that things have changed in 50 years, right? So I'm standing before you just to tell you there's some unique things that I just want to share, whether it's food or the zodiac and whatnot. And this flag leads into the story of the family. And please go like this when you're just like, you can't have any more from me, okay? Because I didn't mark the time when I started, so I'm sorry. But anyway, so this is the flag of my birth, the flag that you spoke of, that when you text, it's got red in the background and a big giant star. That's the communist flag. That's the communist flag. So in the old country, this was me and my brother a long time ago. There's a reason why I'll show you this picture now. Okay, I was 2, he was 8, something like that. That's circa 1973 something. This is my father. He came to the United States to learn how to fly a jet plane. And then from there, he became an instructor. After they taught him how, and then they taught the United States Air Force how to speak Vietnamese, the culture, everything. That was back in the 50s. This is related, actually, this picture, he was somewhere in the South flying planes, and my paternal grandfather said, "Hey boy, found your wife, come on home." So 4 weeks later, my dad went home and married my mom. Okay, just how that went. So then from there, fast forward, my parents, after they married, and then made the 5 of us, had to make the biggest decision they ever made in their lifetime. So a day before the communists took over Saigon, my parents said, "We have to go," because they said, "If you stay, we'll kill you." And my mom said, "Oh, that's not a very good option," right? So anyway, so we left and we went through thousands of miles of refugee camps and such like that, and the only greatest regret that my mom and dad ever had was that they had to leave their parents and all their family and everything they ever knew and anything they ever had. So just think, you've worked your whole life, you're in your 40s, your checking account is no longer good, all your savings, you're in the bank doesn't matter, they took it. Whatever family that you love, you'll never see them again. Your diploma from college means nothing, okay? So, but they did the greatest thing they could do, they gave the greatest sacrifice so that the 5 of us could have something, right? So we got into Redmond, Washington. This is the most horrific picture from 1975. That's like really funky Partridge Family clothes, right?
Yes.
And I was a little girl who put in some trees for the Redmond Elementary School when I was a little tiny tot. I don't know about you folks, but basketball's my thing, and so the Seattle Supersonics were super hot in the 70s, right? You see the shirt? I wish I had kept it, because it would be worth something, on the bike, when I back then. But this is when we first came to the country, and I guess because when you're one of 4 Asian families in an all really white community of Redmond, you kind of stand out a little bit. So this is me as a child, when we first came to this country, and then my mom, of course, God bless her heart, she'd love to clip coupons, and she'd say, "Now 5 of you do not check out together," because it said 1 coupon per person in the household. So she made us all line up in different lanes, and then you can't say, "Oh, that's my mom, that's my sister." Everybody walk home a different way. I said, "Mom, what's the deal? There's one Chinese family, the Wangs, there's a Filipino family that owns a blueberry thing, there's a Thai family, and there's only 4 Asian families in a really white community. And she goes, don't tell anybody, because then we can't get our shaman. Because, you know, the coupon is 75 cents off, and everybody needs to have 75% off. Or whatever the discount was, right? So I'm like, whatever, mom. So we were never allowed to walk home with our shaman, because she didn't want to get axed the next time we brought out the coupons, right? But so, anyway, so it's very humble beginnings, but I show you that so that you folks can possibly see where it began. And so the inspiration for this a long time ago was I have always taken care of my mom and dad as they were very ill, and I've been taking care of elderly people since I was 6 years old. So my mom and dad have now passed. I lost my brother Thanksgiving of 2023, which is very recent. He looked at that. He became a building engineer, father of 2. He died of the same thing my mom and dad had, but he had an interesting other challenge. He died of kidney and heart disease like mom and dad, but he had Parkinson's on top of that. So for 22 months, I cared for him. And so the inspiration for this is my late parents and my brother, because all of us that sit in this room have a story to tell, and there's so many stories about each one of us that have never been told, right? So I thought to myself, well, so how do I share the Vietnamese culture and the fabric of who we are by music and history and all that stuff? So I thought about this in my head. Well, I met with Dr. Steve Woodard on Monday. He elevated me to Scott and William yesterday, and they said, okay, you can come and talk to this group tonight. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. I know that there are no promises or anything like that, but this year, at the end of this April, is the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. And so I wanted somehow to show respect for the sacrifice that my mom and dad made, because they didn't have to. They could have said, hey, we'll stay here with our friends and family and we'll keep our businesses, whatever, and you kids go. But no, they left everything and brought us too. So it was a ginormous sacrifice. And I said, well, as the youngest of 5 kids, what do I do to show the appreciation, right? Well, how can I do that? Daddy always said that maybe if we extend our hand and perhaps share who we are with other people, there'll be more peace and less violence, because when people understand each other, that's where you come back. So the DEI has that, where, you know, you're inclusive, you're a community, there's all kinds of people, it takes a lot of people to do what we do, right? So I wanted to get a program together. If you think of it as a football game, first half would be about academics, a little bit of history, a little bit of, you know, mapping out where things are and basic stuff. But the last half would have been something of poetry reading, music, whatever it is that is part of the fabric of Vietnamese society, right? So that was my thought originally. And then after talking to Scott and William yesterday, all of my plans are now gone. Because the history professors that could only work on one day, March 30th, will not be present. But now they're telling me, well, if they can't be present, at least they can make a presentation somehow. So I have a wonderful, what I thought plan. Does that plan exist anymore? No. But that's okay. Change happens all the time, and that's part of life. So I'm hoping that because there's the Asian Pacific Islander event, in May, that possibly I could be able to participate and contribute somehow. And you know, the Vietnamese were just one microcosm of so many beautiful rivets of people from all over the place, right? And so we're losing a lot of our elders, like many other populations, and so I was hoping to tell the story while more people were still alive. And since this was a significant year, I thought to share somehow. So that's what. But I don't want to bore you guys anymore, so I'm going to sit down. So thank you so much for your attention. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
So I mean, I guess 2 things onto that, not knowing what your guys' conversations were, but the library to utilize that main room if you wanted to do something of that
Yeah,
sort.
I was gonna tell you that. When Scott was so kind and we walked over there together and talked to the reference librarian, and then after Scott left, she says to me, we only book out 2 months in advance. So you can start booking on February 25th, but we can't book anything for March. I said, well, there's no way you can get a word out in 30 days for whatever, right? And so there's, Andrew, I think of it as, do you draw, or are you an artist at all? Okay, good. Don't worry about that. I don't either, I don't know, but, if you symbolically, if you think of what I'm doing as a piece of pottery, and it's spinning on the pottery wheel, right? Every time a hand touches it, the shape and the size of the pottery changes, right? So, I'm here with a hope and a desire and an idea, but I wanna bring forth people in the community who want to add to that piece of art, right? And so I was gonna ask the library to loan me that room, and she said, no, I can't book it on March 30th or anything else. The furthest out I can book it is February 25. So I said, okay, well, then I don't have an event in March then.
Is that the major hiccup in your plan, or was it, you said something about the speakers weren't going to be available, or?
Okay, let me tell you the original plan. The original plan was to have a very small 10-minute segment of the most biggest events of the documentary called The Last Days of Vietnam. That already explains to you what that's about, right?
Mhm.
And then I would have my University of Northern Carolina at Greensboro, professor, colleague, friend, and other brother, Dr. James Anderson, speak about ancient Vietnam history and do a Q&A with whoever wants to ask questions of him, if he was Zooming or if he was here in person. I don't know, how he would appear. But, he would appear, he would answer questions about ancient Vietnam and things like that. Then the next movie that would appear would be Green Dragon, another 10 minutes of just that movie that talks about how the Vietnamese came into the United States. If you folks remember in history class, whenever you were last in school and in a history class, I bet you 9 times out of 10, if you ask anybody, how did the Europeans get into the United States? People go, oh, Ellis Island, you know, East Coast and da 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 da. But way back in time, that's what happened, right? But when you ask people, how do you think the Vietnamese were processed? They go, huh? I said, well, where do you think how did they come into the United States? We don't know. Well, when do you think we came? Well, when the noodle shops popped up is when we came, is the standard answer. And then the most spectacular answer that I got was when I asked, sir, why do you think, I was taking a survey, asked people to take a survey, why do you think the Vietnamese came into America? He said, well, you guys have water buffalo, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, the reason why you came to America is because you wanted to improve your culinary skills, because we have real cow here. We make real milk. That's why you came. And so I said, hold on. There was never a war. You never heard of a war. You didn't know about refugees, nothing. And so, go ahead.
I just don't wanna cut you short, but I wanna, I guess, to Carolyn's point, like, what are your primary hiccups that we could potentially assist with in this event? Is it primarily the room, or is it there are other challenges that are keeping that from happening if we were able to secure a room on that date?
Well, I just wanna make sure that, you have a great question, but in order to answer that question, I have to answer the other question too, like, what would the city of Mountlake Terrace want in this image of a celebration or commemoration or anything like that? I have the historical part, we have some fun parts, but how do we get more people involved in that? And so when I first came to Dr. Woodard, I said, I just need a venue somehow. Can we start with a venue? Let's just start, right?
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. And then he said, go talk to William and Scott. I said,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. So I talked to these 2 gentlemen yesterday. And so to answer your question, it depends on what the final goal is of the city. I was hoping that we could help some of the Vietnamese businesses in and around town, right? And then by people spending money in this town, that tax money stays in this town for the city, right?
Well, I think what we're really trying to get at is, you know, like we talked about yesterday, the date, what, you've got an idea of what you want to present, the part A and part B, and whether or not we can get a venue to accommodate that, whether it's in March or April, which is rainy season, so it's gonna probably be indoors and not outdoor, which would eliminates a whole lot of other things that you had suggested, like food trucks and things like that.
Yeah.
So really all we wanna know is, how do we assist you in bringing, you know, two parts of that together to bring a community.
Oh.
Maybe it's only 100 people
Yeah,
or
yeah.
less, but, you know, how do we bring that together and, you know, what the city's helping you
Okay.
and what do you think, you know, you need, not all that
Okay.
other stuff, just,
Right.
you know.
How about this dreamscape in my head? I'm gonna give you a chance to the dreamscape that comes out of my head. The dream is either Mountlake Terrace High School or Edmonds Community College or just this city hall with, or just the library itself, depending on, you know, how we wish to market, right? And then from there, and once we, you know, cause there's going to be excitement about the event and there's gonna be people who want to be part of it, right? And there's 55,000 Vietnamese people in the greater King County area, right? So my dream is to, once I can get a venue, that's the only time I can start marketing. And I would prefer, like his idea, William's idea was, there's gonna be the Asian Pacific Islander event in May.
Yeah.
Why can't I tag on to that and
Yes.
have a little tiny slice of that? Because if you already have a skeleton, you know, give us a chance to be part of the hand and hold the hand.
So.
Yeah.
I guess from an event standpoint, I don't wanna drag this on, cause
Yeah.
I have done all this stuff. Would you be okay with if we could assist in securing that room for your history part?
Sure.
And then also be a part of the AAPI event as well, so that way you
Sure.
can still do this history aspect of it and utilize that room
Right,
on the 30th or whatever date makes the most sense, but then still be present and a part of the AAPI event. Would that be beneficial, or does that change everything? Cause I just don't wanna add more than,
right, no, you're very excellent question. I can no longer do the March is no longer a good date for me.
Okay.
I'm liking May more and
Okay.
more, as we're thinking.
that's
Yeah.
good. That would-
Okay.
I
That's
guess,
good.
I don't want to be assumptive. Do you think the city wants something, like as a commemoration, a celebration, a festivity, does the city want something like that?
Don't know, everything would be speculative
Oh, okay,
at this
okay.
point. What we'll do is we would, on hearing all of what you presented us,
Mhm.
decide on what might be best for you to present that,
Okay,
or to express that.
Yeah.
okay,
And I think also, you know, if you have a following or you have the connections in the Vietnamese
Yes.
community, I mean, certainly I know that you want to educate others too about
Sure.
your culture, which is great.
Sure.
But if there's, you know, people who are, that you know of that you could draw to the event, that's
Yes.
also very exciting because
yes.
we have had a hard time connecting with the Vietnamese community in Mountlake
Yeah.
Terrace.
Yeah.
And so, certainly we can do our part to help
Okay.
market it, but it would be great also if you
Yeah.
have your connections.
When and if I can get a venue and if folks are interested at all in it, there are some good connections within the Vietnamese Catholic churches in and around.
Mhm.
There's also two major groups. One is called, Vietnam Friends or Friends of the Vietnamese, and the other one is, an organization it was created by a sister called Helping Link. She's been helping families for the last 37 some odd years. And so, there's a variety of places that we could bring this, but I have to be honest with you, without a venue and a date of the kind, I have no credibility.
Yeah,
So I would first have to establish that. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, if you create an event, if you are able to find a venue and set that up, we can help broadcast that for you and
Okay.
get out as far as we can. We
Okay,
would ask you for help for the rest of the way, because we don't have like an ambassador in that
right,
particular culture here in Mountlake Terrace or anything like that. So
right,
it isn't, we're probably not gonna be able to carry it out
right,
in just within the ideas that you have without something more firm as to you know, design
okay,
that we could promote, and we can get Andrew involved and
okay. Okay, thank you so much. So.
All right,
Let's pretend, May 10th is a Saturday.
okay, hang on a second, so
I'd say we take this down the road and you and I start talking as far as
Yes.
logistics go,
Yes,
and then we can come back and I can talk to these guys as well. If we
Right.
have a more firmer state, then you and I just kind of sidebar this
right,
with the event planning aspect of it,
right,
see
right.
what makes sense.
Right, and I just don't want to presumptuous, because if most folks in our military don't wanna see another bullet fall or even an egg roll, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that's the case.
See, my audience, I was hoping was that I could get young Vietnamese people who were never born in Vietnam, never been to Vietnam, but are close to Vietnamese. Then people who are non-Vietnamese between 18 and 80, crippled or crazy, who can't remember exactly what happened, don't really know what happened, and kind of are interested to wonder what's happened 50 years later, right?
Yes, with all due respect,
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes,
table this,
Yes.
and go ahead and arrange
Yes.
with, Andrew for further discussion on the
Okay.
subject. And once something's more firm, we can discuss.
yes.
And I'll
So
support
you-
you,
Yes.
I'll work with you in trying to figure out how to make this work in Mount Terrace.
Okay, thank you
Good.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you betcha. Thank you. Yeah, you bet.
Take a lot.
Okay,
I move that we approve the minutes from our December meeting.
Sorry.
those in favor,
Uh,
against? Looks like it passed.
Thank you. All right. Councilmember Murray, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, so I guess most important note is we are not having a meeting tomorrow, no regular council meeting tomorrow. Council, most of us will be up in Everett. Snohomish County cities all get together once a quarter. And so we will be meeting with them along with the Association of Washington Cities to both learn and collaborate as well as elect representatives to their regional boards here for the coming year. So we'll keep you updated on how that goes. We are back the following Thursday, which is the 23rd. And we have our Lunar New Year proclamation. I think we're talking about proclamations later, so I'll keep that short. And then it's a 5 Thursday month, so I know we're kind of in this habit now of being like, council meetings every Thursday, come on down. I think it's helpful to remember that 5 Thursday months, we don't have council meetings on the 5th Thursday of the month, so on the 30th, no meeting there.
We get a night off.
I know, it's very exciting. Community academy applications are open. I think we've talked about it in this group, but that is the wonderful program that city staff has been working hard on to help our community better understand what we do as a city. I think that is a critically, important and really great opportunity for folks in our community, and would encourage you to think about who you know in the community who is active in other spaces, who maybe is active in areas that the city is not very connected to, or who is just, a great person, and encourage them to apply. Really excited to see how that goes this first time about, and hopefully we will get lots of interested folks. And hopefully those are folks who some of them will decide to raise their hands for other things in the future here with the city, which is really exciting. Thinking of other things with the city, on February 12th, we've got we moved our normal meeting here, and so we have our MLT Main Street open house. So again, opportunity for community engagement. And then the following meeting for this group, I will not be here. I will try to dial in remotely, but I will be at the Association for Washington Cities at their annual lobby days down in Olympia. So we'll go down and meet with our representatives and on behalf of the community here in Mountlake Terrace. One of our big focuses continues to be how do we help bring state dollars home to Mountlake Terrace in order to be able to do the important work that we are doing here locally. So I think the library roof is our big want this year. So we'll go down and work on that. That's the big step. New year, kind of fresh slate after we got done with the big budget and comprehensive planning process. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated, and I'm excited to be getting to hang out with you all for another year.
Great. All right, so now we have moved our events item to the next topic, and we have several things going on here. One, I wanted to check in with Commissioner Francisco on Know Your Rights and any other leads you have on events.
So I missed the meeting that we had with the Know Your Rights folks.
Oh, okay.
So you two were on that.
Wait,
Because I had a babysitter, one of my first aiders passed out.
I don't think we were invited
I
to a
wasn't
meeting
on
about
any.
that.
Oh, no, I think you and Teresa met with the person that Dr. Guzman set up, and I had a babysitter have a seizure or pass out, and I missed it.
I think
It
that
a
was,
Zoom call.
that was the Letty meeting, but that was about, was
Oh,
Letty?
that was supposed to be the ways in.
Oh, we
Yeah.
were talking about like community conversations.
Yeah, no, that was the group that was supposed to tell us about so that's why I missed
Oh,
what
oh,
happened.
gotcha. All right, so we
Is
need
that
to,
the school
I can
meeting?
reach out to,
Was she here at this meeting?
no, we met with her online, the.
Oh, that's right.
the joint-
And
Yeah, we did that one, okay.
we changed the time, and then I still ended up missing.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was in her.
Mhm.
whatever.
Okay, we got a little confused about the topic, but we had a great conversation.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, good. But she was trying to explain how they do the Know Your Rights presentation,
Uh-huh,
and said it's easier to just set up a meeting.
okay, all right, well,
That's what I thought.
we'll try to redo that.
It's gonna be.
Maybe after the meeting, we can see when you're available and we can
Perfect.
shoot for that. All right,
There are presentations online though, the Washington Association of Immigrant Service Network, WASN, is hosting virtual sessions, and so there's some anonymity there.
Washington Association of Immigrant,
Service Network, Support Network?
did they come to our welcoming week?
I don't know.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
I didn't know that WASN existed until they were trying to partner with the district.
All right,
And then I went to two of their Zooms.
I know they were not big deal.
there was something like, yeah, someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, do you want to talk about AAC?
Yeah, so, we met with Dr. Guzman from the Edmonton School District about the Asian American Pacific Islander Native Hawaiian, month event, and we're gonna do that on May 17th from noon to 3 at Terrace Park Elementary School. We have already secured the venue, tables, layout, and I've started to make up a flyer just with general information. We came up with a good list of organizations that we want to have on site. But I know part of the conversation here was about like performances, music, dance. And a part of her conversation was that she would like to get some of the school groups involved as well. So she said there's a dance team that one of the schools has, as well as we were talking about trying to do like hula demonstrations and ukulele. And so just different organizations or groups that want to perform throughout that event, with it being 3 hours. We have the stage and the gym. So we have the commons and the gym for that event. So the plan was to have about 40 or so chairs in front of the stage with kind of an arch. So if they need to perform lower or have people come up and do demonstrations, as well as being on stage, we have that ability. And utilize the gym like we did for welcoming week, where we are able to have people table at the event based on organizations that they want to support. I think there's a list of 17 currently in our folder of potential contacts for organizations that may be interested or we may want to have. But I would ask that this commission, if there's others that we want to add to or things that pop up to your head, that we make sure we include them when we start to really push for this event. Because it is a partnership event, it'll go out in all peach jar to all the schools throughout the Edmonton School District. So this will be a one that we don't have to market to the schools and pay for their peach jar and everything. With their partnership, they'll blast it. It'll be an event that they are co-signed on to, as well as the city and Mountlake Terrace DEIC. So excited about that because she's really ecstatic that we're willing to partner and want to take kind of lead on this. And so that'll be something that I'll be working really closely with this entire commission on. I will do event stuff, but as far as the vision of the event and what you guys want to see happen, I kind of want to put that in your court to say, tell me who you want to have there. How do we want to reach out to them? And not necessarily have me reach out to all the groups and then kind of like welcome week, take it over and own it. And then I'll deal with logistics, day of, spacing, timing. If we want me to schedule people, we can say, hey, you're at this time, you're at this time. So that'd be kind of what I would ask for that event, but we have it on the books, it's gonna happen, and yeah. So,
So at our last meeting, there was conversation about music groups and so forth, and so certainly there's some that are affiliated with the school that would not, wouldn't have to pay, but do still want to bring in some professional groups for a fee. We would just have to know that ahead of time and start working towards that, so.
Well, you know, well, I think it was Saturday, this past Saturday, I went to the Shorecrest, hip hop show. And I thought it was just gonna be, you know, Shorecrest tour, but there was about 15, groups, 3 of them were adults, but 15 groups of all genre of dance, as well as, you know, a collection of various ethnic groups, and it was Asians, I mean, right across the board, you know, matter of fact, tomorrow I've got a meeting with, one of the individuals that actually put the thing together, you know, to, get some insight on some of the other groups. So one, you know, there was 3 Asian groups, one older, a little, I mean, some kids that were like preschool and first, second graders that did a little thing, and, you know, and then some teenagers, you know, teenage hip hop. So that might be, you know, once I get some information about, consider it about 15 groups that were there. And it was pretty amazing. It was making me tired just trying to keep up with their feet, you know, but it might be an opportunity, you know, for, you know, to see if they can participate in the dance thing. Okay.
I'm involved in the Hawaiian music community in the area. And so if you want, I think we talked about last week, you want like more than one submission, or you want people to submit, and then the group I play for, I could step out if there's any conflicts and have someone else play guitar, you know what I mean? So, but I definitely can get in contact with Hawaiian musicians, I play for them.
and I think that's where this commission gets to kind of decide on really what they want this event to look like. It's not gonna be an event that is just me putting it on like my other events. I want this commission to have a real guiding role in that.
Mhm.
And so if you guys say, yes, we wanna have 3 bands and 2 performances, we just need to realize that we're on a 3-hour time frame. And so kind of what does that look like? That 12:30 to 1, and then a 15-minute break, 1:15 to 2:45. And do you want music, like different styles of performances, and kind of how to do that. So we can make all that work, and it doesn't matter if you're involved or not. It just has to be commission kind of guides that and says, you know, this is the kind of groups that we want to have there.
Yeah.
And then we let Edmond School District know too, because they do have a couple of student groups that they want to have involved.
Yeah.
To kind of figure out what the balance is there as well. So
I just want you to know that if there is a Hawaiian
Mhm.
section of it, that we play with a hula group out of Edmonds, who my daughter danced with from the time she was 5 till she went to college.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of live performances, both just playing Hawaiian music and with hula dancers. So that, if that's part of it, I'm saying I can help.
I think that'd be great to have. I
If
think
that's
it'd
something,
be,
you know, people want, I could definitely help find, if not our group, some kind of group to do music and hula.
I personally think that'd be great because it's just interactive, and whether people from the outside get to come up and try to do it, and they kind of work through the steps. However, my visual is like, yeah, loving when kids out here in the plaza were dancing during Terrace summer nights this year. They were just having a great time spinning around, dancing to music. But if we can get them to work together, I think that'd be great. So
Okay, if I can get in touch with you separately, we can, you can let me know guidelines and everything, and I can reach out.
yeah,
And I think that was one of the original ideas that the group had, was the Hawaiian culture, right?
Mhm.
Is that still, everyone's good with us researching that?
Mhm.
What other cultures, I mean, we heard tonight about Vietnamese culture, what other Asian cultures do we want to make sure we're highlighting?
We talked about the girls, the drill team,
Oh,
Chinese drill team.
your daughter, right? They didn't join.
Oh, that's the.
Oh, Taiko
Oh, is it
drill.
We
different
can
one?
talk about them too.
Sorry, I thought it was that one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we were trying to remember who had the contact with them. Like, oh, Erin's on it.
May I just ask one really ignorant question? How are folks in this commission defining Asian Pacific Islander? Like, who all belongs in that group? Or what countries?
I don't know if was set guide.
I always
Yeah.
assumed in the US, when you say Asian, it's just Far East.
Yeah.
Like, in Indochina, I think they don't have that anymore, but like Indochina, China, Japan, Korea, that's Philippine and Pacific, that's what I assumed.
Oh, I just don't know how the city or the commission defines what.
We've never-
Dr. Guzman
Yeah.
is defining, I mean, that's what she does, right? I mean, Dr. Guzman from the Edmond School District, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Benita, she's the one who is I forget what her title is, but her title is, allows her to, or puts her in front of all of the various ethnic groups. And when Asian Pacific AAPI is a national holiday. So, whatever's in that definition, is, what we consider, I think we consider,
Yeah, we haven't like dove into that in
Yeah.
detail. We're being pretty broad.
Oh, there's a Wikipedia page of that.
So I think Nicole, might want to come, and represent Long.
Nicole,
Nicole Lang. Became one of the Native American heritage.
Oh, yeah, right,
Very expert.
yes.
Because she's an indigenous parent, but Long isn't recognized.
I think we're assuming Pacific as one of the ways that, that we can draw a context around the group. So Pacific Islanders, it would be Philippines, Japan, and Thailand, and
I would guess is the national definition accurate? I mean, because it is a national holiday.
yes,
So, I would hope, I haven't looked at it,
No.
but I would hope that it encompasses what it should. And if it doesn't, then that's a different story. But I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, it is a national holiday,
mhm.
Yeah, apparently US Department of Labor Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs has a definition.
Does it have a list of? Yeah, I mean, I know that when I was pulling up the display and like pulling all the flag and everything, there was an entire mapped out section of this is what is considered for, so. But I don't have that off the top of my head, but yeah. So that's where I would just kind of leave it and let you guys come together, and I can definitely move forward in, let's say, March. I mean, we want to get this out sooner and later, but I think we said March would be the time where we can start really pushing it, so we're having it on May 17th, so get it out early March.
so we
But
should,
have a good
We can put it
in
on.
February,
We can put it on the agenda for next
yeah,
and just
meeting.
solidify the groups and come in with say, hey, this is who we're reaching out to, this is who's reaching out to who. Let me know how many people confirm, so I know how many areas we have to set up in the gym, and also work on a time frame for the display, talk to Dr. Goodman, and be able to move forward with that.
and, let's see, on that phone call, it was Scott and Teresa and I'm trying, Benita,
I was-
thank you.
I was
on
Right, right. So,
Yeah,
and
we
They're
don't-
on my phone, but.
Yeah.
Scott, Benita. Do we want to have a little subcommittee that works on this, like the two of you and another commissioner?
Sure.
Um,
Would you like to join us?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
all right, and then, that way we can sort of communicate a little more regularly about the logistics and details, so.
Okay.
Great, thanks. Juneteenth, who's?
Juneteenth, we have a meeting tomorrow, with Snow Isle. To kind of figure out where the next step is, what the plan is, who our nonprofit partner is gonna be, and what that event will look like. But they were just needing to figure out on their end what, logistics, financials look like, and who's gonna be our primary nonprofit to be able to sign off on the event. And hopefully we'll be able to bring it back here and kind of do a little bigger than we did last year. But they needed to get their ducks in a row before we could hop on too much and move too far forward. But it does sound like we're gonna try to make something happen one way or another, it's just size and financials come into play for that one.
Probably, I'm guessing that at that meeting tomorrow, we're gonna probably decide to do it on the 14th. Because that's the weekend before, and it's not gonna compete with anybody else on the 15th, one of the two. I have reached out to some of the older principals from last year and just asked for some ideas on what they think you know, could improve, enhance, reduce, or, you know, just from a perspective, what could be done differently. So now this is the second year, and so I'm gonna be back from some of those like Alicia and, you know, Senator and all those different people that actually participated and, you know, to give us a hand. And obviously we wanna make sure we give the school enough heads up so that they can be involved like they did last year.
So William, is the 14th pretty solid?
No, we haven't discussed anything, but we know we're not gonna do it afterwards. And we're not gonna do it on Juneteenth because too much other stuff is
Yes.
going on.
Yes.
So the 14th is Saturday, the 15th is Sunday, so it's gonna be one of those 2 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
Well, the weekend.
Yeah. Hard to shut down the street.
yeah, we gotta coordinate with, I mean, with
Oh, that's
others,
right.
cause it might be others that's gonna try to do the same thing.
sure,
You know,
sure.
All right.
say,
And
Then I will be setting up a meeting with the mosque to follow up with them and meet with their elders and John Mayer as well.
so one of the things event wise, that I know you'll chat with them about is just how we support them with Ramadan, and they, you know, wanted the banners up.
They
and
really
there's-
want that banner.
They really
Yeah,
want
they
the
do.
banners. I know, we have to work on like,
And they're saying we will pay for it, just give us the permit to hang it.
Yeah,
So the banners are a different challenge, so 236 does not have banner poles anymore after they redid 236. So the only two roads that have banner poles on them are 220th, just east of 58th, and then also on 44th. So there's no banner poles that are set that can string across 236 with where the light rail's coming on. We were talking about seeing if they wanted to have the light pole 3 foot by 2 foot pillar hangers, like kind of where the snowflakes and stuff go. That we still have to work with Public Works and everybody on that as well, because we don't currently have that set up. But if it's something that really, they wanted to have that street lined with it, just from ease of access, that's something we're gonna talk about as well. But we will be working with them in one way, shape or form to try to make sure we acknowledge and support that event and what they are wanting.
would Sound Transit be willing to do something in their space for, you know, banners or anything like that?
That is something we have not got to that point yet.
And they're gonna probably ask for police presence again.
oh yeah, that's no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
That's already a done deal.
We've
so.
already brought that.
And the other thing I just wanted to put on the table is, I know a couple of folks last year went to iftar, the dinners after the fasting days. It's about a month long. There's a lot of opportunities to go, and I just wondered if you all, I know it's really important to the community from the mosque that, we show up. And I wondered how the commissioners, you felt about maybe finding a council buddy and going to recruit
that's a
someone
good
to
idea.
go with you. So maybe that each of you can go with your significant other and have like buddies to go with.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that.
just a thought,
Yeah.
I know that would be really meaningful
Yes,
to the members. And I have met with, Terrace and I have met with the women from the mosque. And I had a follow-up as well with one of the women. But we've had a couple meetings and we've talked about their ideas for, it probably won't happen this year based on their schedule, but they wanted to have sort of a pre-Ramadan, like what is the Muslim faith? What is Ramadan? Like kind of informational, educational types of events, maybe at the library where it's more accessible to people. We have a lot of cultural type education over there.
Yeah.
So my next step is to get them connected with the manager and program manager at the library so they can talk about that. And also they were interested in just influencing the programming at the library to include more like sort of Muslim related programming. So, and I know they do it the best they can, and it's based on sort of who their librarians are and what staff experiences are and so forth. But So, and they're also looking for spaces to, have more programs because their space is pretty limited and the women and men do programming separately. So I've been trying to connect them with like Mountlake Terrace seniors and just other physical places where they can have programs.
And wasn't one of the challenges that they don't feel like they can set an exact date very far out?
Yes.
For the different points during Ramadan, because it's based on the moon and then. Even though there are, you know, calendar designations for it, it's more. Or, sort of like, you know, some of the other spring holidays, it's based on phase of the moon.
Yeah.
So.
It's early this year, right?
It's March.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's been
It moves
in
around.
May, right, it
Yeah.
was, because it's the lunar cycle, so that, like, thinking for testing. Okay,
And this year it's gonna be March.
thank you.
Yeah, because they would like, their dream is to have a really big event somewhere, but,
Someday.
They might need to consider like Linwood Convention Center.
Yeah,
I think they've used that before. That wasn't their. They weren't crazy about it or something. Wasn't. Didn't fit their need or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, are there any other events people are talking with folks about that we should be aware of? That we would be involved in? Some busy bees over here, so.
I will just state that from July 3rd through September 13th, I personally have 12 events, so if you have anything you plan on having my support in during the summer, get it to me ASAP. So I can work it into that 2-month stint of my life. Anything outside of that, free game, go for it, but if you guys have anything planning July through first half of September, please put it on my radar as soon as possible. But yeah, I will support all that I can before then and be able to go forward.
Okay. Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner,
Well, I jotted some notes down because I'm not very articulate, didn't wanna, and I knew I was gonna be sleepy, so. So I have a proposal to make, and I just want this to be at least officially discussed. No matter what the result or the decision is, doesn't matter, but I just wanted to officially discuss it during the commission. So in light of the ongoing backlash against the DEI initiatives, I propose that the city, we should also consider changing our name. Not as a sign of backing down from our values, but as a sign of showing the community that we are not taking political sides, because the concept of DEI is extremely politicized, and people who are against the concept are equating it to like reverse racism or people getting things that they don't deserve, like race over merit. Like there's so much opposition on it, and there are a lot of corporations now are cutting back on that. And when you use the words DEI, it's associated with left-wing politics, although I personally don't think it's related to any kind of politics. So and I understand that like this is not like backing down. We can argue saying, no, this is not what DEI is. We can try to explain to people what DEI actually means. But it seems futile at this point because I do have a lot of like conservative friends, and when I explain what we actually do, who are actually prejudiced towards the concept of DEI, they're like, "Oh, is that what you guys do? That's actually awesome." So it kind of creates prejudice towards what we do. So I propose we use a name like outreach, social engagement, or something that is not, at least currently, politicized. We cannot guarantee that that's not going to end up being the next DEI term, but I just have a proposal to like, at least I want us to consider the possibility of changing our name. And I can tell you guys, at least as a government agency, support is considering what they're gonna do in the future, because certain organizations are expecting federal government grant cuts if they have a DEI department as well. So it might get even worse. That's all.
Thoughts from the commissioners?
I will say that, trying to be a nonpartisan organization is tricky in today's climate. So the League of Women Voters has had some of these conversations too, because, advocating for voting rights is starting to become politicized more than historically it's been. And so I think it's important that we talk about, our mission and our goals, and does our name reflect our values as an internal organization versus looking at it from the outside? So does diversity, equity, and inclusion cover what we do? And is that where we are? And have that be a priority for our name before we look at how people are looking at us from the outside, if that makes sense. That's kind of one of the things that I thought about when this came up.
I think I brought this subject up last month, you know, I don't know how it came about. And, but I think I gave my 2 cents last month about the acronym DEI versus diversity, equity, and inclusion. And, you know, and to your point, Karim, when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion in those groups that are in that, people don't argue with you. You know, they don't, you know, but they argue over the acronym DEI because it has been polarized, you know, by a particular group of people. Okay, and that particular group of people will, in my opinion, polarize any acronym that is doing whatever it is that we're doing. You know, because of fear, of threatening, you know, feeling threatened, feeling that they're being lost and being conditioned to believe that, you know, this is something that is taking something away from them. I think that I think I was pretty clear, you know, in my opinion, you know, last month. You know, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission is what I signed up for. Because, and as I've been in this for 5 years, I have learned by being part of this group, you know, what that entails, you know, not what a small faction of people are trying to make it look like. And yeah, we do know that there are corporations that are bending, you know, and eliminating, you know, their DEI positions. And when you read what they say and why they say it, it should make you cringe. Okay, it should make you cringe, period. You know, because, you know, it tells what their reasoning that they write down, you know, tells a really sad story of how they really feel about marginalized people, you know. And in my opinion, a lot of this is written in code, you know. So I think that, in a nutshell, I'm fine with the word diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, that's my 1/7 of the opinion, because that's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for anything else. And you know, I think we're the ones that are making it work. You know, not the name, but the mission is what's making it work.
Well, and what you were saying about how when you actually explain it to people who are like, oh, DEI, and they go, oh, that's what it is. It's sort of like, to William's point, if you say diversity, equity, and inclusion, instead of saying DEI, although, you know, DEI is all over our stuff, and then I think that some people are going to have an aha, like, oh, that's what it is. Well, of course I want that, you know, so, yeah, I don't know, I don't know a better way to sort of spell out what we do, but, I understand what you're saying about how, you know, we want people to hear us and to want to engage with us, so it's a tricky thing right now. I mean, and we're not Costco or Apple or some of these other companies that are keeping their DEI and saying, we're, you know, screw it, we're gonna keep our DEI. I mean, because we don't have that kind of power. But I'm sort of encouraged by the fact that some of these big people like that are keeping their.
I think when you look at the three words of DEI, none of that is inflammatory in any way. Those three words are exactly what we're trying to do. And it's not inflammatory. So any labels being put on it is by, like William said, a small group of people who want to demonize the three letters. And they do a lot of it with misinformation. So it's not that it's backing down, but what it is, it's giving power to this small group of people who want to take three words that are completely good for society. All three of those words are really good for what we're doing here. And they perfectly describe what we're doing. Now, if people don't know what the three letters stand for, it's kind of on them, in my opinion. I just feel like we then give power to people who want to demonize something that either they don't understand or they don't want to understand. So my feeling is that I want to stay, because like William said, that's why I got in here. That's why I'm in this room. For those three things. And I feel like if we give power to this sort of politicizing, then we are part of politicizing. We become part of that whole thing. Like, well, this thing gets, if one side looks at it as this side and the other side, when we give in and we say, okay, we're doing it too. To me, I want to stay this way, and we've been in these booths all through the summer. We're in these booths talking to people, and once you tell them what we're doing, and you don't have to say it in any partisan way. It's just, here's what we're trying to do. Here's some of the things we have done. Here's some of the things we're planning to do and hoping to do. It becomes a conversation about Mountlake Terrace, about our city. It doesn't become this sort of big national left-right thing. And I think that name is exactly what we're trying to tell people.
I also think that, the people that want to demonize it always use the acronym because it's a lot easier to make
Right.
acronyms sound scary, because it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So, I think we just have to be good about saying it out loud and doing it, you know? So.
I'm curious if it comes up at school. It's the acronym or the words come up at all.
No, not like, I don't think I've heard anything bad about the DEI, so it's not something that I see in like school.
Is there a discussion? Do you tell people that you're part of this?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know what it means, surprisingly, so it's not like, oh, when they hear the acronym, they think of something bad, you know, it's more of like a curiosity, but I think the majority of people who do think it's bad is people who have information about it and they see a different view of what we do. So, yeah.
My perspective on it is, when I take a look at where the DEI, where DEI has been disparaged, they point more specifically to hiring practices, the dumbing down of hiring practices and things like that. We do none of that stuff. What we do is that our goal, of course, is everybody living in one common place successfully. But in order to get there, we would have to ourselves go out and meet people, and that going out and meeting people is I think the thing that draws us to this mission. And so it has nothing to do with the controversy around DEI, but we are a part of it because we've got DEI as our moniker. And so I appreciate the conversation about this, but I have no clue as to what to do about it, except to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion very succinctly says everything about what we do and what we represent out here for the city.
Thank you. I just wanted this to be officially discussed at a commission because I know we talked about this last week a little bit like last month.
Yeah.
I remembered it
Yeah.
after you mentioned it, but it was not a part of the commission. I just wanted it to be discussed, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were
Well,
on-
this is a commission conversation, I guess, but maybe a takeaway for me as your liaison to the council. I think I heard maybe an opportunity for folks to better understand both what that acronym stands for as well as the work of this group. So maybe that's something I can take back more regularly instead of being like, we had our DEI commission meeting on this date and here are some of the topics we talked about. Maybe there's a little bit of opportunity for community education on a regular basis in terms of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, which we often refer to as our DEI commission, you know, and again, kind of go back to like, what are your goals as a group and like, why did we create this commission? I think it sounds like there's definitely opportunity to help folks better understand the work, because it sounds like we are getting pushback on the work, that people are excited about the work that you're doing. It's really just understanding that and being able to connect those thoughts. So I would be happy to work on that, and of course have specific thoughts on things that I can share back at a council meeting. Would welcome you reach out and let me know what those are.
You know, and to wrap it up, for me, and I think anybody that's been at the booths will say the fun part about being at the booths is when people walk up to us and say, so what do you do? You know, and that gives us that opportunity to tell them what we've done, what we're doing, and what we're going to do. And, you know, and those, and that the picture collage that you sent, Carolyn, and to all of us in the year, you know, was just a microcosm of all the things that we're doing with so many different groups. You know, that's what excites me about this thing, because, you know, we were born in 2020 under a different environment than what we're in now, you know, and, you know, the folks that that are afraid of DEI, that's what they think this is, 2020 summer, you know, whereas, you know, we get emails from, you know, like the vets and the disabled, and, you know, you know, all various groups saying they, you know, the Vietnam, you know, this is the people that you go talk to them, you know, that's why you're here today, you know, and that's exciting for me, you know, because of the diversity, which ain't going away in the city, you know, and the equity and inclusion, you know, that we're trying to build, so. But the groups
And
are-
even with all the negatives, people still come up and say, thank you for what you do,
Yeah,
without even
yeah.
mentioning DEI.
Mhm.
So there are people out there that get it, and I'm glad you do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank
My
you.
minutes are about, so
Thank
thank
you,
you guys.
Andrew.
Take care.
I'll email away.
He's out.
All righty. Community conversations. Well, 2024 was really successful. We had our first one of 23 Monday, and did not work out well.
Wait,
Um,
when Susan, no one attended, like no one from the food bank came?
Nobody. And I sent Carolyn an email, because I had a lot of thoughts about it, that actually got in my head because you were talking about the West African Center and their situation. And the difficulty at the food bank is that they aren't really so much a community. They are people from different communities that come together to get services. Some of them probably don't necessarily feel good that they have to get services, so they maybe wouldn't want to be in a place with other people that they don't know that well, talking about other food bank users. And a lot of the food bank users are immigrants. There's a lot of scary stuff for immigrants about going to a government sponsored thing. So, I mean, I was kind of going based on Carla's feeling that it was a great idea and she thought people would come and, you know, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
she was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I think she really believed that some people would come.
Yeah.
And, you know, she felt bad. She couldn't go because she got sick and,
And I don't think anyone should feel bad, right?
No,
This is
we
all a
tried.
learning
It's a learning
opportunity.
experience.
This is
It's how
all
we
about us
figure it out,
learning
you
how
know?
to connect with people. And, you know, it's, you know, disappointing when you put a lot of effort forward and
well,
try to organize
city
something.
spend money and everybody
Oh, yeah,
had spent their time and We have a nice dinner together.
Yeah, check it out. Look what I got.
But yeah. I mean, I think the people that use the food bank definitely are people who could benefit from knowing more about how to access things at the city. And, you know, one of the thoughts I had was, well, maybe this is a group where we just hand them the folders with their bags.
Yeah,
And so then they've got the information
yeah.
and who to get a hold of if they wanna know more. And
Mhm.
because honestly, the way they operate there, it's not like people come into a big room to get their food, they kind of drive through and
Right,
people hand them
just
stuff.
handing stuff, right?
So, Carla said she wished she'd had more time to explain to people, but Carla can't stand in every car and, you know, explain to everybody and, a lot of them are both speakers, I mean, she could help the Spanish speakers, but, you know, so anyway, it was kind of a learning thing. And it also made me think it's gonna be really interesting to see who shows up at the city event,
Mhm.
This
because
is getting a lot of action. on
it
social
is,
media.
but will we get any? How many people from some of these marginalized groups will come to that? Or
Mhm.
will it just be the kind of,
Probably none,
yeah.
probably
it's-
none.
Yeah,
That's okay,
it's okay,
Okay.
because
Just
other
city
people.
event?
because we gotta work with those groups to get them there.
Yeah,
You
the
know.
29th is the community conversation that is gonna be here.
So the food bank event, I had a conflict, so I couldn't go to that. Did the staff, the volunteers from the food bank participate?
Nobody was there. But,
So I think that that could be an opportunity is to
Well,
have
I
a
was
community
thinking about that.
conversation with the volunteers of the
Right.
food bank, because those are people who are engaged in the community and serving those who come through Mountlake Terrace.
I did think about that afterwards, and there are some of the volunteers are people who use the food bank. Yeah, so,
And then the school has a food bank pickup, which is similar in driving through the carts, but it pulls from a different community.
yeah.
So it might be worth checking in with the folks who organize that. I know if there was a community conversation at College Place Elementary, they do the drive-through food bank program, but they have a lot of, additional engagement with their community, and so that type of an event would have a different feel.
Well, because the other thing is that when you engage the people who are doing the helping,
Mhm.
they are also, people who can pass on the information.
Disseminate information.
Well, you know, when I first moved out here, you know, Ellen and I, you know, volunteered at the food bank, both the day before and the day of. And, you know, so we got a chance for a few months and whatever to really see how that works. And the same thing with the one right around the corner from my house, they do the same thing.
Mhm.
Reality is, there is no engagement, you know, with
Right.
those folks.
Yeah.
You know, they give them the bags, you know, there ain't a whole lot of conversation, you know, and they move the line along, you know, so to give them some information, it probably goes into the recyclable bin in reality.
Yeah,
You know,
oh,
because there
yeah.
ain't a whole lot, because they don't get out of their cars, you know, and you got one person, boom, bringing them a bag of stuff, you know, you find out how many folks that they need. That's
Right.
the only conversation you have with them, how many folks.
And I
do
know
you
that
need?
there's regulars that they recognize and
Yeah.
that recognize the people that are helping them. And that's why passing out so many, she thought there would be 15, which is a tiny amount.
Mhm.
But 15 would have been nice,
Mhm.
you know, 5.
Yeah.
would
Now,
have
was
been-
she considering that to be a targeted group, you know, since there was an Hispanic translator there, so was she expecting?
Well, that's one of the major non-English languages.
Yeah,
they
we
speak
were-
there.
But
Yeah.
what was she expecting? That's what I'm asking.
15.
No, not numbers, what type of population was she
Oh,
expecting?
Spanish or Ukrainian and
Okay.
English
Yeah.
speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does this need to be specifically monitored? I wonder if, nutrition network?
Oh,
Nutrition, like Nutrition Network, I know they work for the like Edmond School District, so probably they have some kids in Mountlake Terrace as well, maybe we.
Well, and there's people who go to the Concern for Neighbors Food Bank, which is the one we're talking about, that don't live in Mountlake Terrace. I mean.
So it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but, maybe that would be a better group to target is the people who actually. One of the guys, John, who, is one of the guys at the food bank that's, he says, oh, can I come? And I said, sure. hopefully come, and he didn't show me. So,
Yeah, I think that there's some conversations that might be a little bit regional, but we're hoping that people have an experience in Mountlake Terrace, like they
Mhm.
work here, they go to school here, they
Yeah.
worship here. You know,
they use the service in that.
If we plan this, try to do this again, maybe I can contact Tane from the nursing network and I can say, do you guys have any connections? Because they drive the food to the kids' houses.
I don't think
They
that,
might have some kids in Mountlake Terrace, like, no, they don't know.
well, I think that if we're gonna try and outreach to the schools or to, families, that we should, schedule those through Dr. Dusan versus highlighting specifically people using the food bank program.
Good point. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, personal identity tied into using the program.
Yeah,
Yeah, they won't
That's
even look you in the eye.
like needing services and taking and there's not, it's not always a feel-good community building
right, it's a.
kind of, it's, I'm in crisis or my family is having a hard time and
Or there's
I'm
something
not
wrong
looking
with
to
you,
try to
yeah,
make
yeah,
new
yeah.
friends, I'm not looking to try to make
yeah,
new connections to my community.
Yeah. Good point.
Good point.
So lessons learned, we'll munch on that one a little bit more. We have, I guess, we've got the public meeting coming up. There's a news release going out this week. There's a lot of social media that we're pushing and we've got paid ads out there. We have a Facebook event. And then I think today, Sienna was gonna create another way to RSVP through the website if people aren't on Facebook. Because I want people to be able to tell us if they need interpretation or childcare. So, it's expensive to bring in interpreters and I don't want to hire like 4 interpreters and then nobody needs them. So,
So you said you created an event,
yeah,
right? Now, here's what I'm thinking. I mean, because we've got a resident here that now has posted, I think 2 or 3 times, about this event coming up on the 29th. And between the 3 posts, he has almost like 150 comments. If you're creating an event, and I'm assuming it's on the Mountlake Terrace, City of Mountlake Terrace page.
yeah,
Maybe we might want to consider maybe asking this individual if he want to be one of the event managers, so that he can be part of, because it sounds like, I mean, it could blow up and be huge and you want to control the size. But at the same time, maybe this individual that's getting all of these contacts and all of this, conversation going about this, could be like when Ellen does stuff, like the party and all that other junk, she makes me a manager also, so that I can invite and,
Yeah.
make sure that, I mean, 'cause this
I
person,
don't know that we would want to make someone from the public a manager of a city event, but he could share it. I mean, you're invited. I mean, you said you were going, so you could, I think you hit the 3 things and you can copy the event link and you can paste it in.
I'm just saying, I don't get a fraction of I mean, this guy got the big
Just-
flower thing.
Just comment on his
Okay.
thing
Yeah.
and add the link.
Yeah, I think a few people have done that,
Yeah.
just a thought.
You can send it to people, so I've seen
Yeah.
events posted around the community and I'm like, oh, Kermit needs to see this, and so I sent the Facebook Messenger of the link to the thing.
But we'll also, I don't know if she's posted it today yet, but she will probably in the next couple days get on the website a link to register as well. So, I can look for that. So I think we'll have a good crowd at that one. I need to work on the marketing for the February 23rd event. That's my next on my to-do list. And then we'll get the marketing materials translated from the school, from the health district, because they have a bilingual staff who's willing to do that. That whole event will be in Spanish and English. And we did speak with Letty about cross-promoting this with us. So that was great. So we'll have the health district, the library, Letty, and us all sort of partnered to cross promote this. It's on a Sunday afternoon, which we were told by the Latino community would be a good time for especially working middle and lower income families who maybe work on Saturdays. So hoping that will work. So then there's a bunch of other things that we're still kind of have in the works, and I just wondered if people have updates they want to share about any of these other topics.
Okay, I'll go real quick with Waywhack, and I think yesterday, what was it, yesterday, I was like in conversation with them for about 2 hours, and them talking to me, about, the whole idea was a community conversation, and this is what the takeaway was. And to your point, when I got home last night, before I got out of the car, all of a sudden it hit me exactly what you said, why probably no one showed up.
Yeah.
And it was everything that these people had told me. So let me just kind of throw some key
Yeah, that
things
was
that they
ringing in
said.
my head. when
They
you
said, well,
it.
what will bring them to the table? Trust, consistency, support, language, African food, music. Then they said, why would I go to City Hall? Because there's nobody there that looks like me. There's no signs that are readable, and lawmakers don't show up to our events. They said that they don't trust the system. They don't trust government. They don't trust the police. Not most, but a lot of them are undocumented. And that would be the same with the Hispanic group. They talked about, we can hand out these pamphlets, but can't nobody read them. There's 110 languages, in the West African community, and even within their own ranks, a lot of people speak French, but in Africa, there's like a gazillion different versions of French. So when you walk into the Waywhack Center, depending upon who you need to talk to, you may have a different French interpreter that's going, just like when me and the mayor and the pro temp went, there was 3 different people, interpreting for us while we were there. And they talked about, the way to get them involved is that we got to get involved. And if they trust us, which takes consistency on our part, then they will embrace us. If we show up at events that they have, and just become someone that they recognize, then, they will become a part, they will look forward to things that can help them. And that's what, we really, got to do. They talked about like their English as a second language. They've got the health people coming in there to fill out insurance for them, their rights, they got an attorney coming in there, I think next week, I think like every other Friday, which they said is like, if we could participate in that every other Friday, they pass out food, like 500, bags of food, fresh meat, boom, 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 just like the food bank. And while there, they have a barbecue going on where, you can sit there and meet the people and talk to the people. They said, if you do that sort of thing, they'll come to this, they would want to come to that. They said there's like over 20,000 West Africans in Linwood and over 1,000 right here in Mountlake Terrace, and they're eager, but we got to build that trust, just like the same with the Hispanic community. We don't build that trust, they ain't coming, and I've got my neighbors behind me, Russian and Ukrainian, and I asked them, about getting involved. They said the same thing. They're a very close-knit community, and they ain't stepping outside that boundary unless they trust the group that's going. And the only way to do that is not gonna, whoever is bringing them, has to either convince them or we gotta convince them that they can trust us to come to these events. That was worked with the targeted groups.
I think it's gotta be a combination of that. I mean, we need to get, even just certain people trusting us, and if they trust those people, then.
One of the things that they said that, I was like, whoa, they said, they don't do Facebook, they don't do any of these things, but what they do is WhatsApp. They say, if you want to get information to the West African community, you need to post it on WhatsApp, because what happens is everything that gets posted on WhatsApp here goes to Africa. Everybody sees it. they comment on it and send the information back to people in the United States. So if you want to communicate with the people here, you got to do it on WhatsApp, and it's got to be in a way that, you know, I don't know if WhatsApp does interpret, translation or anything like that automatically, like, some parts.
Well, I mean, WhatsApp is owned by Facebook,
Yeah.
so, I mean, and Facebook has an interpretation.
That's the only thing they look at.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they look at.
That when you use WhatsApp in a different language, for example, like if you send me a message in Russian, I don't need to translate anything. It messages delivered, and because I set it up, it automatically shows it to me in English as if you texted me in English.
I mean, that happens, when, my son-in-law's family messages us, because they use WhatsApp.
Mhm.
And, I mean, sometimes they'll send me a message in French, because I can figure that out, but, a lot of times it just comes through as English.
Yeah.
And I know they probably didn't initiate it that way.
So they create communities. I mean, are communities on WhatsApp chat groups, or is it like?
The thing is, someone must have created a group for the people, and
Right.
you need to actually get invited or at least have the link to be
Yeah.
added. You cannot
Yeah.
really search to
Right.
find it.
Oh, yeah, they told me there's
Right.
something like 9,000 people, in this circle, and that's where the information gets
That's why you-
around.
Yeah, we have a group with my son-in-law's family that
Yeah.
we share pictures and stuff, but yeah, you have to actually initiate it.
So that's the 2 cents on that. I mean, it'll happen, but it's gonna take some time, and there's also another person that they, I guess she's like the guru of the West African community in their old office. So everybody goes to this person for housing and for this, for that, for that, for that. She's the one who knows where everybody is. So I gotta make contact with her. And
Would she be somebody who would come to a meeting?
I don't know, I haven't met her.
No, I mean, that's just an idea.
I'm not gonna ask her to come here, I'm gonna go see her.
Oh, no, I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
if she wanted to find out more about us and after getting to know you or some of us, maybe she could.
Well, they're giving me an introduction. The groups over at the center now, they're like, they know me, they know my name, they love to see me, so they're gonna make the introduction. And they said they introduced me to her, I'm in, so.
Well, if they wanna meet some more of us, let us
Yeah.
know when you're going, and I like to do that kind of stuff, so.
Thank you for all the time you've spent on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it gave me a headache yesterday.
Well, it sounds like you have good
It was
barbecue,
like
so,
information overload.
yeah, it
man.
sounds like you have good barbecue though, so there's some thing.
All right, so I'm waiting to hear back from the chamber. Andrew's working on the Ballinger Senior Center. Anything happening at the high school yet?
The only thing that I know is happening is that we have an event coming up with, the Black Student Union, but it's with the 3 different schools in the Edmond School District, with Mariner, Meadowvale, and Shorewood. Shorewood is one of those. We're all joining together to have like a potluck and discuss things that we want to see in our community. And also on January 30th or 31st, we're having the multicultural assembly. So it's different cultural groups coming together, doing acts or poems or dancing. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on. Nothing with Tribeca though.
How about, do you think that you have any, influence in trying to get a conversation with either one of the student groups like the BSU or the LSU, or like a group of
Yeah.
just students from the school?
Currently, no. There's been a lack of meetings, mostly meetings that are going on. It's not like in the beginning of when the school year started, there's a lot of like introduction. Now everyone is like headed into state, or either there's meetings that aren't happening. But I know that if I talk to Mrs. Brazil about it, I'll be able to, meet with the different groups or like the different clubs and discuss and get their ideas on everything.
Yeah, and I guess, if you.
Would we need to go to the school instead of
Yes.
bringing them here?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. So I don't think you were part of the meeting last year, Patricia, that we had, but we had tried to pull together we had this conversation sort of later in the year,
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
it?
I was out in the
And-
east.
Yeah, and several of us went, and then it was like representatives from the BSU, the LSU, the newspaper, several of the student counselor, or teacher counselor, whatever they're called. We all got together to talk about, could we have a conversation at the high school? And with kind of the end game of it, where it was going was sort of like a train the trainer and have people who were trusted by the students already lead the conversation. So whether that's students like yourself or maybe some of the guidance counselor type folks, what are they called? The
Career specialist,
career specialist. Thank you. And
I think they're educators.
I'm using old terminology. But just finding folks who could do that facility, and like, we could be there maybe, but we didn't wanna, I think it was more like, how do we get the students to talk?
Yeah, I feel as if a good way, because normally at our school, we have like pop-ups, you can sign up with, Mrs. Brazil, and you have a desk, and you can put your information on the front, you present to the different, because there's like 2 lunches, and like, a lot of people, even if it's something that they don't know about, they'll still go up to the table and like, they pass out flyers and they give out like candy and like say, this is what we do and these are the type of events that we have coming up if you're interested. And I think that would be a very good outreach to all the students, because again, it's like all students in lunch and everyone will have a chance to see what's really going on. And there is, I guess you could say union with it's the principal and there's like a select group of students, which I'm included in, with that we can give these ideas to the principal, like about things that we want to see, like changes, more outreach about different communities, because mostly like all we talk about in the newspaper is school stuff, but there is a way to be entered into the Hawkeye's newspaper. Not a lot of people read those, but some of them do. So it'd still be, if people aren't at school or if people, don't have social media to see about these things, it'd be a good way to put it in the newspaper about like upcoming events and stuff.
Do you think, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, do you think it's possible to, for one of us or a couple of us to, crash or be invited to a meeting with the principal? And we can kind of,
I
within the students?
Yeah, I could ask an idea.
Yeah.
Because most of like the student-led things is ran by Amaya Brazil. She does most of these things, coordinating these events and stuff. So that would definitely be a great idea, and they've been like asking me about like things, how to get more outreach to the students and stuff. I haven't really had like, good ideas that matches up with the schedule of the school year, because the school semester's ending. So I think since the new semester has been like giving new opportunities.
Yeah, everyone's busy trying to finish up their projects and improve their grades, and there's the play and all the competition.
All right.
Well, Sue is gonna be at the school tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, right.
Right, a tour.
well, if you see, should I come?
yeah.
Yeah, she'll
Be
probably
looking.
be there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I sent you an email tour.
it's nice to meet you.
What's the name of the
So
tour again?
they're gonna be at your school tomorrow.
What's the name of the store? Oh, well, I gotta email.
Tour?
I gotta work
The
my
tour
emails.
tomorrow?
It's
Yeah.
tour.
What is it?
The
I
tour.
was on the phone about the tour.
It's called the tour.
Dr. Miner is, bringing a school bus full of people, so you go meet at the district office
At
and
night.
get on the school bus,
Yeah.
and she's gonna tell you and do a tour of Mountlake Terrace High School, and there's lunch provided, and then they take you back.
It's a student.
Experience Edmonds Education Community Tour.
Can anybody take that tour?
There's a sign up, but yes, yeah, cause they have to reserve the number of lunches. They go to school much, but they do them
And I think
throughout
That's
the
right.
school.
Lunch.
And I
They do
think
them
that-
throughout the school year and they go to different.
Well, you're
schools.
not
They just
missing
happen to
much
go to Terrace.
I used to eat school lunch, I'm sure it's not any worse than it was back in nineteen
It's gotta
seventy-five.
be a lot better.
Yeah.
So there are different options. We used to not really have options.
Yes, right.
I mean, you
One
do have
thing.
like a lot of options, they're just
Yeah.
not the best,
Like
well-made
that.
options.
We had like that sheet pan pizza or the sheet pan pizza.
This is when you hear that story, when I was your age.
At least you guys have food.
At least,
Yeah, there you go.
He's glad you had something to eat.
Continuing talking about the high school, I reached out to Jen Herman, I talked to her when she dropped my kiddo off last week, and, so she was meeting with the Indigenous students Monday or Tuesday, she wasn't sure, she had to check her calendar. So I told her that I would email her in the middle of this week and follow up and see what they said, because she has a lot of ideas that she's hoping to get buy-in from the students, but, what a grown-up thinks the students are gonna be interested in and what they're actually interested in sometimes diverge. So, having a community conversation with the Indigenous students and parents groups, was one of the things she's gonna talk to them about, and how to collaborate. And then there's a day, so there's a lot of different potential holidays to collaborate with a city proclamation or awareness about. And it was really cold and I was shivering, my brain turned off when she said the name of some of them, but, I'll follow up with her.
Okay. Thank you for following up with.
No, I think it's might sound a little random. Do you mind if I'd like to add two things? I'm sorry.
Is it,
It's, actually, my apologies, it's a closed meeting at this point,
That's fine.
as I understand it.
That's fine.
yeah. I would like to add that, I hope to have an update next month to add a group to our community conversation.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna tell her about it when I act.
okay. Well, you can talk about it here. I mean, if you want
I
to.
had coffee with a friend of mine who is Jewish, I forgot. And then we were talking about Christmas cards and I'm like, oh yeah. And so I went and had coffee with her and she's like, well, I mean, you all are welcome to come to all of these things that are doing at my house or my kids and their bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, because she has twins, will be coming up and you all are welcome and you can just come and see what it's like. But who you really need to talk to is this other couple, and I know them too, but I didn't think about them either. And so I am reaching out to them.
Great.
I hope that we can connect more with the Jewish community. in
I was so close to
area.
knocking on someone's door because they had a menorah on their window, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Hey, are you Jewish? I was like, I walked back home. I just thought it was oh, that's gonna be so creepy.
I see that you're Jewish.
We'd like to have a community conversation about
All right, well, we're getting late here, so let's
Yes.
move on. Black History Month, do we have logistics figured out?
Well, the A, what is it called, African American History group that they got the theme. I gave Tricia the paperwork, it's about a 5-minute read, you know, that explains why that's the theme, you know. So I asked her to practice that. So, you know, leading up to the proclamation, if you finish, she can read, which is a great opportunity to give her some visibility, okay? And explain why, because the proclamation speaks to, you know.
Labor, it's
yeah,
labor and.
so that's an understanding why it's in there.
So do you want the proclamation read and then Patricia accepts the proclamation and reads the additional information about the importance of the labor movement?
The indoor, someone, I think last month, I think it was Benita mentioned, maybe the Black Student Coalition being present to receive it.
Yeah, the BSU.
Are you part of that group or no?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
What date are we doing that?
it'll be the-
6, I think.
It's Thursday,
Yeah, it's the next council meeting.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
should be February sixth, right?
February sixth.
Okay.
Do we need to make a formal request to the Black Student Union, Patricia?
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
how could,
Through Trevor, cause she is, the leader.
And I'm hoping we'll see her tomorrow. I sent her an email that we were coming.
okay.
She knows to shut her door.
I know, she's gonna be like.
So when do you want the proclamation read and then Patricia to read the additional information? Or do you want
What do you think?
it in reverse?
Have you seen the proclamation?
I have, I
Okay,
read some of
all right,
it.
okay.
I was stuttering a bit, but, what does the additional information look like? Is it just a shorter version of like?
Well, what you have, what I gave you is the theme. And then the proclamation itself,
You can pull it up.
yeah, the proclamation itself is the whereas and whatever.
You don't have to read that.
Okay.
Well, the mayor could read it, or she could assign it to a council member or
Right.
have.
Council member, we have to.
I'll do whatever I'm told, but
So this is
That's the proclamation.
the proclamation, and so, we introduced the theme of African Americans and labor, which is this year's theme. And then, just talked a little bit about the history of Black.
Cause I'm thinking that if we're going to give the proclamation to somebody, then it should be after, the history of it is read,
Yeah, okay.
That means to read the history, in the proclamation is read, and it's given to, to the
Right.
recipient.
So, I guess my question is, do you want to read the information about the labor, the sheet that Patricia has during public comment or officially before the proclamation is read, then have whoever's reading the proclamation
I think it
read?
should be part of, well,
Part
it
of,
is me.
part of the proclamation process. Okay,
I'm not the expert on it.
that's fine. I just need to let the mayor know what we're doing.
I
Okay.
think adding it to the regular agenda as part of the proclamation process, so that it's not tied to.
Okay. All right, so we'll ask the mayor who she wants, if she wants to read it, blah, blah, blah. And Patricia, the reading and read the proclamation.
So I'd be reading this?
No,
You'll be reading what I gave you.
Okay.
maybe a little bit.
No, it's 5 minutes. I timed it like
No, I
3
meant,
times. This is the road to read, word.
yeah, the where.
Word.
Well, and then you get to the end and it says, I may.
I made it. I think I did read it once. I think I read it once and I was like, oops, that's not me.
Caught myself the second time.
Yeah.
Signed by the mayor.
Yeah.
The first time I read it, and I'm like, wait, no, I'm not the mayor.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he said that in public record.
Yeah, I think that's the second time I went, that would be her.
Okay,
Well, we're getting squirrely.
Lunar New Year. I had asked a while ago and it had slipped my mind that I had asked Lou of the Multicultural Association of Edmonds if the board would want to accept the proclamation since they do the wonderful event. And she finally got back to me and said, I don't know who can make it, but I can. So at least she could receive it on behalf of the board. So hopefully she'll show up. I'll have to remind her. She's doesn't read her email all that often. So, and if anyone's going to be there, just in case the mayor wants to defer, she'll probably want to read this one. So, yeah.
Is it also on the sixth?
No, this one is next, this is the next meeting.
Oh, it's the 23rd.
23rd of this month?
Yeah, next week.
Yes, you sent out the calendar invite and I'm fine, because I can't go, that's why it's not on my calendar.
All All right,
Oh, yeah, okay.
I would think she'd
Yeah.
wanna read it, but.
yeah. All right, and then we have a new proclamation for consideration, and there's a hard copy in front of you for Nauruz. And, oh. Here we go. So, first I'll just, if you have any proposed edits or changes to the proclamation, please let me know. Then we can have discussion on recipients and anything else we want to do to celebrate this event.
I thought we were not going to have celebration this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, I think that's what you said, right? Yeah.
That's what we because of the
Yes,
titles.
yeah.
But I do know people in the city of Mountlake Terrace to celebrate this, and I
Yes.
can propose
Okay,
recipients.
awesome. And I forgot what date we said we were gonna do that one on.
So I mean, it's
March
March
20th, so we
20th.
have time, yeah.
But I don't know which commission meeting it's going to fall on to,
Oh, right, I have that somewhere.
because March 20th is a Thursday, actually. So
So we could do it on the 13th or the 20th, but the 20th would be a regular meeting, which is preferred.
20th is preferred.
Just because we typically don't do proclamations during work sessions, but.
I mean,
And
it works out well.
Okay, good, great.
Do you think it would be a couple of people?
Actually, I was thinking about a family first. Because I'm closest to them. If they cannot make it, I have about like 25 people on my list. I'll find someone. So this is around like, it's 7, right? That's one commission. meeting.
Yeah.
It's
About 7:30 to 20. Maybe it's gonna go out.
Yeah, and I know it's further out, but we have a little bit of planning to do, and we should probably focus on this a little more next month, is Children's Day. It's April 23rd. We have a meeting on the 24th. Would it be terrible if we did it on the 24th?
Looks like I already marked it as 24th. We must have
Okay,
discussed it.
okay, I just didn't, I
It's on my
didn't,
calendar.
all right.
The 24th this month or?
No,
April.
April.
Okay. I was just writing that down because I realized the Children's Day.
And it's going to be against 7, or is it because it's children? Are we gonna, because on my calendar, for some reason, it's marked as 4:30. That must be
Oh,
like an
well,
error on my end.
no, we talked briefly, and maybe what we should do is get a little subcommittee going for this one. I know Vanita had ideas, so maybe the two of you could connect, and if there's anyone else interested. But we had talked about, do we want to bring students in after school? If any council members are available, we would have to put that on their calendars sooner than later. To like come in, sit on the dais. You said like make a quick decision or
Yes.
something, and then like get a picture with the council members that are
Sign an
present.
ordinance.
I ruin everything for
The
you.
John Hancock pen up there. Yeah, so that was briefly what we talked about, but I think we hadn't quite figured out like how we would want to invite students, and like, do we want to just have an open invitation to any student, and there's a sign up list and we have a certain number of slots. But I think if you want to do that, we should first see which council members are available. If you would like them there. I mean, that's kind of part of.
Yeah, it would be nice for them to see them. But
It would be probably more significant if it's involved with one of their seat.
no, I just want to get a child and get with it.
You want to get
I,
them?
yes, but I'm a little too old for it. I never got to do it. This was all a ploy. Like I just wanted to get it for myself.
You
Like,
can run for
Run
election.
for office.
no, it's not that fun.
You want the photo op, is that the responsibility?
Yes.
All right, so if the two of you want to chat a little bit about that and like, let me know about times to hold, that would be great. And so Children's Day, committee is. Okay. Oh, we didn't vote on, no rules.
And move that we adopt that we propose the members' proclamation to the council.
Second. Done.
All in favor?
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, our first proclamation, I mean, contact the family.
All right, and then Karim is going to ask a family. Great. Thank you. Oh, this is on the website if you want any of these dates. Just things happening in the community, if you're interested. Nothing's required. And if you know of more Nowruz events, I only found like some in Seattle, but I added a few up there just in case people are interested.
Oh. Well, those three I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm busy organizing the other three. So.
Okay. Well, you let us know when they are in case
Yeah.
people want to come.
You said they're on a website, what website?
It's part of our packet. I mean, this presentation is part of our packet.
Oh, okay.
All right, we have time to work on this, so if you're tired, we don't have to go into it. We can like spend more time next month work on the work plan, but we will have a presentation before city council this spring, in March or April, I can't remember, to talk about our work plan. And so I put some things on there that just by quarter, of kind of what we've been talking about, but if there's other things that aren't on there, please let me know what you have in mind.
So are we, these community conversations, are we only looking to do them? Never mind.
You know, we originally talked about just doing them for a quarter, but I feel like
Right.
it's worth continuing
Yeah,
them
absolutely.
because
I didn't see the other.
it's not just about the DEI strategic plan, it's about our long-term relationships.
Yeah.
That evolved.
For the plan.
You know, maybe we have something in there that speaks to our involvement and support of any of those 13 events that Andrew has planned.
Mhm.
You know, so the city knows that we're going to be integrated and,
Mhm.
you know, we will be supporting those things. Not all, I mean, obviously not, maybe not all of them, but, you know,
When we can.
yeah.
Well, this is also in your packet, so if you want to think more about it, and also I'll start compiling your successes from last year, but if you have photos you haven't sent to me yet, please send them my way, and I can help work on the presentation. So this is, we have time for this, so I just want to share that. So, Commissioner reports.
Commissioner reports. A couple of things. I participated in the AAPI meeting with Dr. Guzman. And also last night went to a VOA high school event regarding racism and bullying. And it was a very interesting event. It looks like they're going to continue. They're going to turn it into a podcast. And they had a panel of high school students to report out what they were experiencing in the high schools themselves. There was a doctor there who studies this nationally, and he brought all kinds of figures and things that just, so if you don't understand racism, he would be able to point you in the right direction and point it out in things that are happening right at the neighborhood level or certainly at the high schools. So that was an eye-opening event, and we've been invited to come to the next one. So as soon as they put together their agenda for the next three, he asks that we work with the high school to see if we can find some students that might be willing to participate.
No, when are they having meetings?
Every
Quarterly?
3 months, yeah.
What was the organization called?
Volunteers of America. It's,
Oh, VOA, oh, yeah, okay.
Steve's.
And they're gonna do a podcast.
They started a podcast, so they
You know what it's
recorded
called?
last night. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, okay, we find out.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, I'm in touch with them.
Anything
But
else?
that's it.
Okay.
I was on the phone call with Letty with Carolyn, as we were talking about, and then, I also, with Carolyn met with the few of the women from the mosque again, and, the day after our last meeting, and then our event that didn't go over on Monday. Yeah. That's it.
Tricia, I skipped over you. Would you have anything to report, anything that might have participated in that, in regard to DEI?
Anything that I might have participated, I want to participate.
Things that you participated in that fits what we do here,
The last meeting, and the last.
any events?
Let me think. I don't think much, honestly. Mostly everything has been school. I was coordinating and attending events for the Black Student Union, or sometimes we joined the other unions, just in like the Latino Student Union and the Asian Student Union. We all like try to like go to different meetings and stuff. So just to learn about different things and try new food. Yeah,
Good friends. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So had to do an ESL assignment, so my son and I went to the ASL game night around the table. So it's a silent game night, and when they play games and they sign and write notes. She's very nervous at first, and then she met new people and she was great. I taught 4 first aid courses in that area. William and I went to the Civic Circle Legislative Preview event in Everett. I attended 2 online presentations by Walden, I'm gonna mess their acronym, but about Know Your Rights, and then Survivors Opposing Solitary Coalition. So there's a movement this year about trying to push ending solitary confinement as a regular process for people who are incarcerated. And I went to the Women's Voters Meeting and the school board. They did want to mention a couple of things coming up. Moon House is having an open house in Edmonds. Shoot, I didn't know the date. I think it's the 20th. I'll send out the date. And they support teens and youth in the community who are struggling with either mental health or family support. So like if you end up with a runaway at your house, then you should call Cocoon House and file a report with them so that you're not harboring a kidnapped child. But they do a lot of good work in supporting students and children. There's a point in time count, and so the Snohomish County Health Department is doing a point in time count on January 23rd from 10. They have different shifts, and they're running through Verdant, and it's from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they're meeting and providing services to homeless people and then making sure that they count and are counted in things. There's an Edmonds College job fair specifically focused on English language learners and people, immigrants, who are newer to the country. And so there's a lot of questions to become, if you're hiring, about what your practices are for supporting people through that process. It is on February 11th from 11 to 2, and the League of Women Voters will have a table there. And comedy night is coming up right after our next meeting. So we're gonna meet on the 19th, and then comedy night is Friday the 21st and Saturday the 22nd. And it's gonna be amazing, and tickets are finally on sale, and available. And then I got an email from Snohomish County, Sport 7, that they are doing a regular CERT training process. So, Councilmember Murray and I went to the CERT training, in September, and they are going to be offering these every year in March and in October. And so if you would like to become CERT certified as well, you could be prepared for responding to our community in an emergency.
Did you say the fire district is doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The South County Fire Department is hosting that. And I will send you links.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rita.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hoppio.
The only thing I wanted to have to mention is what Commissioner Francisco just mentioned, is that Commissioner and myself and a bunch of great people are putting together the Edmonds Comedy Night, February 21st, 22nd. And it's our 18th year, and it benefits kids of the whole district. And it started here as a Terrace Park event, and just want to make sure we mention that again.
It's for adults. How many nights is an adult? It'll be an adult, it'll be 18 years old.
How many nights can vote?
I don't know. Is there?
Varun, you're on.
Oh, I don't have anything. I haven't done anything.
Okay.
You just told me you were planning 3 events.
I haven't done it yet.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna write that you're gonna share the details.
Yes, yeah.
of your
There will be
events.
2 events that I am not organizing, but I will share them as soon as they are ready, and the other 3 I will share as soon as I organize or die. I don't know which one comes first.
Okay. Willie.
I'm gonna jump back to since our last meeting, 12/13 to 12/24, we had the holiday shed. And I'm bringing it up because over 100 community members contributed, and 75 plus actually shopped that were from MLT. And we had opportunity to speak to a lot of people about the tree survey flyers. We talked to a lot of people about the community talks, and people did express interest on getting information. Some people gave us, their took my email address and, responded to us so that they can get information about the community, talks as they come up. Also on the 4th of January, with Dr. Woodard, the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, we represented NLT at the WAWAC's first annual gala and fundraiser. Got a chance to, connect with a whole lot of folks, from Linwood and Everett and whatever. And that was the whole connection piece. And then on the 8th, with Vanita and Dr. Woodard, attended the legislative review. What was really cool about that, I guess, is, a lot of it centered around community engagement, how to do it better, And then, like I said earlier, this past weekend, I went to Shorecrest Hip Hop Show to kind of make contact with possible participants for Juneteenth celebration. And yesterday, I was over at WAWAC, trying to find out how we can get the community engaged in community conversations. Yes.
I can't keep up with you people. Like, lost on 3 things ago that you said. Okay, this is great. You guys are amazing. All right, we've got way left. And something I missed. The legislative event, way left. And
That was to do with the WAWAC, Shorecrest.
Shorecrest Hip Hop. All right,
Staff?
Okay, just a reminder to Commissioners Page and Francisco, your terms are expiring this year, so if you want to be reappointed, please reapply. And the information will be coming out this spring. I don't have the dates yet. Just remember that your March meeting got changed to March 25th. I think I sent you a calendar invite for that. The February meeting stays the same. We ended up not having a conflict with the academy. The community academy is pretty much full.
What is how many people?
We have over 30 people signed up.
That's
I
great.
think we'll probably go to like 33 or something.
Usually 6 weeks, right?
It's 6 weeks long. It took 3 days to go.
Wow.
And even before we did the press release, it was like on the website and people were,
Yeah, I saw it on LinkedIn. That popped up on my LinkedIn feed.
yeah.
I signed up immediately.
So right now we have a request for proposals out for a consultant to help us with the long range financial sustainability task force. So we'll start recruiting for that soon. And that will be a smaller group, more like a dozen or so people that will advise us on long range financial planning. And you don't have to be a financial person to do that. Just an interest in the city, what we do, levels of service, what's important to our community. So we have lots of jobs open, so please look on our website. Really interesting, cool jobs. And so if you have any questions about jobs, please let me know. And that is on the computer. Yeah, so we'll talk more about the work plan. We'll talk more about the events we have coming up. And please let me know if there's another topic that you want to discuss.
If Carolyn didn't make herself clear, she said, if you're interested, you can reapply. So, I think she even said, please. I'll make sure that that's in the recording.
Okay.
Any new business? No? Okay. All right. We're gonna move to adjourn here.
Second.
Yeah, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. A rousing meeting.
I